You want to keep your foot out the way.
Yeah, I think I do.
So again, warm up oil when you put it in your hands. Bob, is this too low for you to work through here?
No, that's
Or should I
not
go a
too
little
bad.
bit?
It's
Okay.
not too bad.
All right.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
And again, through here we can do things like use elbows as the pressure.
Yeah.
Can you breathe?
Oh no.
A little bit easier. We can use knuckles in circular movements up that muscle. If it's too much, Bob, we'll just use my little finger.
No, it's okay. It was tickling.
Okay. Still tickling?
Goodness.
Sorry, didn't mean to hurt you there.
Oh.
He's so tight in here. Yeah. Like,
That's not what I do.
Oh,
yeah, you like
God.
squirming around too.
Oh, it's just so ticklish.
Yeah, so super tight. That's coming from the outer little finger band. So again, it's coming right across the shoulder here. And I'm not necessarily expecting to fully have that release just through working this area. I'd want to come to his little finger. But you know, we can do what we can do. Again, we can use different parts of our hands. We can use our forearms.
Oh, that's his computer, isn't it?
Oh yeah, just
But-
below there, yeah.
The wires.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah. And again, knuckles. I'll just keep my hand.
Yeah.
About here, Bob, is okay?
Yeah, that's good. Yep. Oh, yeah, it's good.
And again, if it's too much,
Oh,
just use the little
good.
finger.
Oh dear. Oh, yeah.
You can use double thumbs. Again, we can cross over the muscle and work up it. Or just do circular friction movements. See a bit of blood flow coming to the surface. Now we'll do a bit on his arms.
Is this how long you would spend on someone, on their limbs? On each limb with the oil?
With the oil, yeah, because you're only going to get a certain amount of release, and then it'll come down to the fact that oil massage has its limitations in getting into the detail, because you'll hit it where it's no longer letting go, and you would have to do the fingers or the
That for a
toes.
second treatment.
Yeah, that's where the chopsticks and all that come in. Otherwise, you'll tend to sort of make them sore and bruise them if you just overwork it, especially if you're going quite strong.
Yeah.
As I say, it's nice sometimes just to have an oil massage for the effect of the oils coming in and creating a relaxing effect. It can feel quite nice, but as I say, we can't do the detail. So it does have its limitations. This would be more like, I guess, a deep tissue, what people would call deep tissue massage. Although some people don't go this deep with deep tissue massage even.
Oh,
Okay, so we're finding a lot of tension around here.
oh.
Again, I can just caress up his arm a little bit, into his shoulder. You can do the fingers, but all you're really going to do is sort of this kind of thing. You sort of pull them a bit. You know, you could do a little bit of this, side to side joint movements with oil. But if I start to get into too much detail, the slipperiness doesn't work to my advantage. Okay, I can do a little bit of squeezing perhaps. Rolling up, again getting to there, but eventually it just comes to the oil actually is not beneficial. Although from that point of view of getting into detail, it's still going to be beneficial to the person to have oil on their hands, because you've got all the different qualities of those oils going in there, and it's quite nice, like as massage therapists too, that we do oil massage on ourselves and things, because it's just nice to get that oil in if your skin is dry or anything. I get kind of dry skin, so I do like to put a bit of oil on and get into the muscles. But as I say, you'll reach a certain limitation as to what you can do, and that's why we need to get in with chopsticks on the details. Because, for example, say this muscle here, you can see it's incredibly tight, and it's sore for Bob. If I get two into here, would you agree with that, Bob? That it's sore for you?
Yes, I concur.
Yes. And see, all of that's coming from the tips of these fingers,
Crikey.
right? And I can't do them very well with oil, not to the detail that I do like to do with chopsticks. So I'll be limited in getting this tension out. I can still come into here, into the middle of the wrist where it's held, and gently caress up it. But I can't really get that out on a deep level. And if I keep doing that too much, this area will be sore and it won't release. Okay? So that's the problem. But it does have its benefits. It still feels quite nice just to have that sort of work over with oil.
Oh, my finger.
Yeah. Exactly where his finger's kind of going a bit crazy is the source of that tension, interestingly enough.
I can feel it.
We can do the wrist move with oil, but his is pretty tight. One thing I do like to do is to kind of get right into here with the oil and get into at least where these muscles are coming from, originating. And you can see I flick over them when they're super tight, but I will be limited as to what I can get out. I can put the hand like this and get into this side or this side. All the different bands, I can still work, I can get in there, but I'm not going to get as good a release. That's why this is, from an effective point of view, it's better to be done after you've done the detail on the hands. But for some people, they're just more used to oil massage, so this could be a way that you sort of introduce them and you start talking to them about bands, and you start talking to them about why, like for example, that he's tight up here and where it's coming from, and why maybe next time we might do some fine detail on the toes or the fingers, in this case the fingers. So it's not a bad way to introduce for a first treatment as well, for people that are especially used to oil massage. Because then hopefully it's still one of the best oil massages he's had, and I'm not gonna, obviously it's a bit uncomfortable for him at times. Would you say it's a bit uncomfortable for you at times, Bob?
Yep.
Yeah. But you quite like that anyway, don't you? See, I'll push here and he says yes. Just kidding.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's very tight up through here.
Oh.
Because he can't even straighten his elbow properly, so tight.
Oh.
All right, let's.
Yeah, I'm feeling it.
You're feeling it, yeah. Let's get a bit of warmth to it.
Oh, jeez.
Around his shoulder. We can use even knuckles up here. We could use forearms up here, or even the point of our elbow. I'll come to another spot. Oh, his arms are just solid. There's just so much tension in this arm, you know. So, again, I'll go pretty easy on him.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. Plus, I'm getting old these days anyway. I'm not as strong as I used to be.
I'm delicate.
Yeah. So again, bending the wrist and really getting into the origins of that muscle is nice. He's a bit tight there. You feel that tension, Bob?
Just a bit. Oh, Lord.
So we can again work through here. Work across the top of the fingers. Work in between the fingers as well, or in between the
So if you
Metacarpals.
didn't go as firm, it just take longer. Is that correct?
Well, either it would take longer or you would never get there. So if I was to massage him like this, which is more,
That's really lovely.
yeah, like almost, that's
Yeah.
what I would call almost sensual massage.
Yeah.
That's what I
What,
like.
that a lot. Control yourself, Bob. Yeah. But I'm not ever gonna release the deep seated tension.
Not doing that.
Because I could do that for 50 hours and it will never get that deep seated tension out. Now there is a balance somewhere in between there, right?
Yeah.
And that's where, again, how fast do you want to get the tension out?
Yeah.
And so I could go more like this. And and of course the lighter I go, it's more enjoyable for Bob,
Yes, lovely.
Yeah. But it's not going to get that tension out.
Yeah.
So I always say they'll thank you later with this. But it just depends what the person wants too, Like if Bob wants more gentle stuff, we can go gentle
Yeah.
because he doesn't want to get that tension out.
As fast, because you'll still get the tension, release some form of tension doing
That's right.
it gentle.
That's right.
This won't be as effective.
Yeah, that's why I thought, well, I'll go gentle with him anyway, Because otherwise we could really plow into that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't play on to it.
No. What sort of pressure do you feel is good for you, Bob? Like about like that?
Yeah, that.
See, that's still effective?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. So he's getting a combination of it not being too overwhelming, but he's getting some effectiveness from that. But eventually, as I say, we'll hit a point where nothing's releasing anymore, and we'd have to come down and do the fingers properly. And as I say, oil massage. It's just not, it's too hard. It's hard for me to grip his fingers properly. I can still do a little bit. Like obviously we double click it, that was good. Some simple joint stuff we can do, but we can't do as much detail. But this is a great area to get in with the oil. Again, he's got that
So
real
you're just
tight
doing
spot.
pressure there?
Yeah,
a
just and
point.
eventually rolling over it.
Okay.
So rolling up the band and then cross fibering it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where he's particularly tight and that's where it's a bit uncomfortable for him. So we can just come back and forth to that. But he still wants me to work there just at that right level of pressure for him. Again, I can even hold and move still and then work up. If somebody is particularly tight and really, there's a possibility of this deep stuff bruising them, you could add arnica oil to what you're doing.
So, Arnica 6, is it?
That's the homeopathic one that people take internally, whereas you can actually get it as an oil, and you can mix it in with your massage oil. In South Africa, I used to pick up the arnica and deep heat together, which was an interesting combination. I haven't seen it here. So, a few little clicks we can still do. And yeah, but that's just super tight in his arms there. Yeah. And yeah, he's a bit sensitive to the caressing stuff, so the deeper, but we can certainly get in up here. And then even up through here. How's that, Bob?
Yeah. That's good.
Good. And so therefore, then I feel like, well, I can't do much more here to get this out. It's just going to be working against that, where I would have to do his fingers. So I'd get him back for another treatment and do his hands properly. But how's that feel, Bob? Any looser?
Yeah, feel good.
Now we're going to get him to roll over. So again, for draping with men, I know your back. How's your back?
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah?
Yeah.